yesterday, an interesting phenomenon popped up. People saw on Twitter that Deep Space Nine was somehow trending, which is strange because there were no Deep Space Nine announcements. There was no big Deep Space Nine anything that we know of. So, we're all pretty curious, but everybody kind of jumped on board and was like, hey, if Deep Space Nine is trending, let me just go ahead and say that Deep Space Nine is the best show ever, or whatever people wanted to put out into the world. But I was not able to figure out why the hell it was trending. Anne-Marie, you said you were able to figure it out. And what is that?
So let me just look for the exact title.
It was the virtual Trek Con coming to a conclusion, of course.
Yeah,
Obviously.
So basically there was a tweet that said 10 TV shows to know me. And then you list obviously right. 10 TV shows. So apparently Deep Space Nine and I guess TNG later in the day started trending too. So Deep Space Nine was on so many people's top 10 lists that started trending in a really fun way. And then my favorite is Robert Hewitt Wolf did his top 10 list with all shows he wrote, was a writer on. And Ira was loving that Deep Space Nine was getting attention. And yeah, it was just a really, really fun day of Twitter. And everybody was like, this should be every day, which I agree.
So that's really cool. So what it was that there was just one of these games or whatever that was trending. There's always a thing that's trending. And this was a game where they say these are the top 10 shows to get to know me. And so Deep Space Nine was trending kind of organically because it was mentioned so often within that thing. Is that what it is?
Yes. And when I started looking at just going through all of Twitter, not just people I know, it was actually really mind blowing how many people who aren't even the usual Trek Twitter people were mentioning it in their top 10. Thought it was really lovely. And also kind of another reason it's a little bit of a shame that it's going to go behind a paywall where new people can't as easily be exposed to it. But yeah, super fun. And of course, it was really fun to see TNG trend later in the day too.
It's so cool to see the show that we all love that's 25 years oldish, that's had such an amazing impact. And you see okay, here's the impact coming out that people are saying, if you want to get to know me, this is one of the shows to know. It's not, Game of Thrones or whatever, something that's fairly recent. No offense to Game of Thrones, great. But Deep Space Nine. I mean, it clearly influenced so many people in such a big way. I mean, it really was an epic show.
Which tells you that it should be included more often than it is, because it means so much to so many people that it often gets overlooked. And I don't like this. I don't like this being overlooked thing, because obviously it trended organically for a reason,
right.
So there's still a hunger for all things Deep Space Nine, and it shouldn't be swept aside as often as it is.
Why do you think it is?
So I heard, for example, Larry, one thing I really like is that Larry
Nemechek.
Dr. Star Trek / Dr. Trek, he likes to call them armchair fans or armchair Trekkies, where we don't hear about them as much. So people forget that there's such a humongous untapped population of fans who we don't, if you're just doing social media, not actually a lot of people do Star Trek social media, but actually, so Larry has this Trekland Portal 47 where every month he has a special guest. And I guess last month he had Mike McMahon on, or this month, I can't remember. All the days are just running together now that there's more pandemic stuff going on.
I think it's still March 2020 right now.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually, I think it was a few weeks ago, but apparently somebody asked the question to Mike McMahon, because it's basically a round table with the guest. Portal 47, LarryNemechek.com for more details. But somebody asked him about Deep Space Nine and why there aren't more references. And I know they're every once in a while one, but it doesn't compare to how many references aside from TNG Voyager gets. So he said that one reason is because Renee was such an amazing Odo, it kind of hurts to reference Deep Space Nine as much without Renee still being alive. But I kind of I think that's a really sweet sentiment. But then on the flip side, I think a really good rebuttal would be that what greater way to honor his legacy by reminding people how wonderful the show was and like giving the show that much love, especially while we still have, obviously, like now we've lost Aaron and Renee and a lot of like, not more minor, but like not main cast or the main recurring cast. Like, why not be able to like honor them and incorporate them more and while they're still with us?
Right.
Well, and I know Aaron would love to know that he's being referenced even after he's gone.
Exactly.
I mean, he would love his legacy to live on that way. He wants Nog to continue and succeed, and because he invested so much of himself in Nog that even though he's gone, that's part of how he lives on.
Exactly.
That's how we continue to carry him through this Trek verse.
Totally. Yeah. And have his like fellow castmates. Like, I mean, obviously we're biased because we love Jake and Nog. Like, have Jake so that it always just makes people think of Nog too. Or anybody on Deep Space Nine to just like incorporate that show so it doesn't, I mean, it's just so rich that it's a shame to not take advantage of the amazingness.
Well, and take advantage of the people who are still around while they're still around. Because there's such great talent in that show that it should be tapped more often.
Totally.
I think part of the reason, this is just my opinion, I don't have any data on this, my opinion is part of the reason it didn't get as much love earlier as it does now is it's harder with arc-based shows. Like if something's episodic and you miss 2 episodes and you come in, you're like, okay, what's going on now? Oh, did they retake? Whereas now, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's to just go back. We were just talking before we started too about like, having, trying to videotape shows back in that era and things like that. Even if you were videotaping them, if there was a special or sports, heaven forbid sports, they always run way over. Sorry, that used to always piss me off.
It was so annoying.
It was really hard to keep up with it. Whereas now it's much easier to go through it. And now, if anything, I think people have a greater appreciation for the arc-based things because the level of depth you can do if everything isn't a bottle episode is so much greater, right? So, I mean, when we think about the shows that people love, I mean, actually, some of the other ones off that list, like Battlestar Galactica, that was very much, an arc-based show too, and that's part of the reason. One of the reasons I think it's extraordinarily popular now. But with streaming, it's so much easier to do that, and you can really appreciate the amazing work they did back then.
Totally. Also, like the younger fans of TNG, like Deep Space Nine was like a little bit slightly too old sometimes for me. And then like going back, then it just like totally wins your heart because it's so the same universe. And as you can watch all the episodes in order and you're older and like can really relate, especially to like the more mature female characters who, if you're like 8 or 9, sometimes it's a little hard. It's just like a more mature show that really ages well. Same with Voyager. And like also they used to be on a little bit later than TNG. I think they were targeted for more adult audiences, which I feel like all these things together, I think it would be really great to incorporate them in more.
Yeah.
And if you could put out Regis Okana on Prodigy, like that guy was a total womanizer from TNG, like surely any Deep Space Nine character would be a great addition to anything.
Yeah, I do want to point out our live chat. JR Poole reminds us it is Nichelle Nichols' birthday, so happy birthday to her. We should have mentioned that at the top. So that's really cool. Really love counting all of her birthdays. Every year it swoops back around and we get to think about her and smile. Also, a lot of people in the chat.
Is she 89?
89 already?
I think that's right. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
That was a good year. A lot of people in the chat are really pushing for Deep Space Nine getting more love because we need to kind of get it out there and get the love that it deserves. And it is growing. It's definitely been building for the last few years. But they say, here we go, a few comments here. Scott Jensen knows how to win my heart. He says, it's trending because of you, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Completely lying, but that's okay. Tech with Todd says, Seventh Rule has created a new wave of Deep Space Nine love. Thank you. We're doing our best. Medallion
says,
the
prophets.
It's trending because a lot of Trek fans participate in that top 10 list. Yes. Chuck A also says the Seventh Rule is doing a great job of promoting Deep Space Nine. Glenn Iverson says something very funny. He says, Ira, aka the grape beard of the galaxy.
That's great.
I wanted to watch when I said it so I could see your reactions there. That was a good one. But yeah, it's true that we all, and Medallion also says, happy birthday, Melissa, coming up soon.
Soon. Yeah, less than a week.
It's never too early to start celebrating.
And Mohammed.
Oh,
that's right.
Yes.
I have alerts set in my calendar for this. It just hasn't come on yet.
When is yours again, Mohammed? You've told me like 10 times. It is. Okay. I didn't want to. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's like Saturday. Okay, everybody.
Okay.
So on Twitter on Saturday, flood Mohammed with happy birthday wishes, and then clear the slate on the 2nd. And then on the 3rd, flood Melissa with happy birthday wishes, and then give yourself a break for a couple days. And then on the 6th, flood the entire internet with reminders that Aaron Eisenberg's birthday is the 6th, and he deserves to have his legacy called out and remembered over and over again, just like Deep Space Nine does. So that's your mission for the next week. It's going to be a fun mission, though, right?
I have a really good. Faith Howell said another plot line that was never picked up again, which I really love, is Laas, like Laas. He was the changeling that like was dispersed somewhere in the galaxy and like met up with Odo.
Right. His last name was Angelus, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Maybe Vegas.
He grew up in Los Angeles. Yeah. So yeah, that is a great one. Like a guy we never saw again after one episode.
But
Awesome.
you guys stop the presses.
JG, by the way.
Yes. Stop the presses. Mike Goo in the live chat says his birthday is January 4th. So pretty soon, the 7th rule is just going to own January. It's just going to take it over completely. Happy birthday, Mike Goo. Wow, that's awesome.
Hey, my head just exploded. I didn't know that
Gross.
JG played Laas.
Yeah.
What? That's some insane makeup. Wow, that's acting.
What happened to Vosh? Do you remember? I remember she came back with Q, but I don't remember what happened to her after that.
I think she just went on. Oh, didn't she actually like go back on a more virtuous path? To like.
I mean, that's what they said.
I don't know. I freaking love Vosh like in TNG, but in DS9 not as much.
Fair. Just thinking of loose ends. That one popped in my mind.
I do love her so much. Yeah, maybe she'll come back in Picard.
Melissa, later on, go back and look at the live chat so you can see everybody saying happy birthday to you.
Oh, thanks. I will.
But they're wishing you a lot of birthday love. Man, that's exciting. That's definitely birthday week, January 1st through 7th. I believe Heather's
Jordan?
birthday. Yeah, Heather Jordan, her birthday, I think was the 7th or 8th or 9th, but I feel like it was the 7th. It was like right after Aaron's. There are a few people. Anyway.
Hey, wait, I have to give this really fun comment.
Here it comes.
Medallion said Vosh became a new religious sect. Like wasn't it like the Yacht Vosh?
Oh God.
The Yacht Vosh.
Yacht Vosh, yeah. That's hilarious.
Okay.
Trying to head canon.
But we do have to figure out a way to give Deep Space Nine, more love out in the universe. Because look, Voyager, gets a lot of love. Next Generation does. Original series does. Enterprise does not at all. Enterprise definitely needs it as well. But for right now, we're talking about Deep Space Nine, and everybody at home, keep tweeting about Deep Space Nine. Keep holding that torch and talking about Nog and talking about Odo and talking about Deep Space Nine and Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolf and Ronald D. Moore and all those people, Hans Boimler, all those people that really brought, and Nana Visitor,
Mhm.
All the people that really deserve a lot of love. And Avery Brooks, of course, even though he won't see it because he is notoriously checked out of the internet.
But Armin will.
Right. Armin and Terry, you're right. Yeah. And Chase.
And Nikki DeBoer and yeah.
So everybody give them the love. Tweet them out. Hey, randomly. It doesn't even have to be anything. You could literally just tweet Chase Masterson and say, hey, by the way, you were amazing as Lita, and I really appreciate your skill. Thank you very much.
Chase Masterson is amazing as Chase Masterson. I mean, just the things she does with Pop Culture Hero Coalition.
That too. Yeah, what amazing human being she is too. So she should be lifted up.
100% agree.
Mm-hmm. So make their days. Go say nice things randomly, so it just makes them go, oh shit, I'm glad you appreciate me.